Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today, I just want to introduce to you how to create a chart or graph using RStudio. So today we're going to see how to do charting. Charting. Uh, we're going to look at how to plot, scatter diagram, basically, line chart, bar chart, histogram, and box plot using a base package. Right. So let's start with the scatter diagram. Right. Let me put this way. Scatter diagram. Right. So scatter diagram basically is main for quantitative variable only. If you have a qualitative variable, they will not work, right? So you need to have a quantitative variable only, right? Another purpose of the purpose of scatter diagram is to compare two quantitative variables, and it will show the relationship between these two variables, whether they have a correlation or no correlation, either linear relationship or non-linear relationship. So it's compare two quantitative variables, and the purpose is to see the relationship between two continuous, right? So let begin with how to plot the data. So let us use the built-in data, which is empty cars, right? Head. Let me show the head of empty cars, right? So basically, we have one, two, we have several variables, right? So let's look at the structure of this variable, empty cars, right? So we have 11 variables and 23 observation, right, in this data set. So all these data set are numerical, but be careful. Um, Basically, CYL, uh, gear, AM, and carburetor is actually is not a numerical data. It's a categorical data. If you can see the documentation of this data, right? So you can see AM is a transmission, either automatic or manual. Number of gear, forward gear. Number of carburetor is carburetor, and CYL is actually a number of cylinder. So if you see, before you begin with any charting, you need to understand your own data. What is the nature of the data? Let's see how many category of the CYL, right? Basically, we have three level, 4, 6, and 8. And for AM, we have 0 and 1. 0 for automatic and 1 is for manual, right? And gear, we have 3, 4, and 5 gears, right? And carburetor, basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, right? So I'm going to show you how to plot a scatter diagram. If I want to plot I want to see the relationship between miles per gallon and weight of the cars, right? So I just use function plot, right? Function plot, right? And so I key in the x variable and y variable, right? How do I know this? Just go to question mark plot, so we can see the requirement for plot. So the first thing that we need to input is x. X is the um, where the variable should be in x axis, and y is the variable in y axis, right? Right. So plot empty cars. Let me put weight as X as is, and empty car my per gallon MPG is for Y as is, right? Just hit enter, then we will get the scatter diagram, right? Are you okay? So this is the basically the function to plotting scatter diagram, right? So if you can look at the plot, right? It plotting that the scatter diagram for mile per gallon and weight, and you can see the relationship between mile per gallon and weight is uh, negative relationship, negative correlation. Right? As the weight increase, the mile per gallon also decrease. Right? So in plotting, you can change, you can add title and exist title. There are no basically for the fresh plotting. There are no title for the graph, and exist title also does not exist. It use the variable that we call. If you want to add title, let's say empty cars, weight, empty cars, mpg. You can add by putting main. Main is for title. Let's say relationship. Right. Can you see it? Right. Let me put this way. Right. So if you put main, that will appear the title of the title of the graph. Let me correct this one. Right. And if you want to make a title for x axis and y axis, we just add another function, which is x label. X label is for labeling the x axis weight of the cars, and for y axis x y label, right? Okay, now we can see the mile per gallons label is already at y-axis, and weight of the car is on x-axis, and the title for the graph. Right. So if you can see the data, the point is in circle, right? You can change the point, the data point, by adding PCH equal to 1. Let's say we change to 1, nothing changed, right? If you change to 2, it changed the data point become triangle. If you change to 3, become plus, right? So if you want to see um, the PCH coding for R, right? If you can Google PCH, right, it will show you some. It will show you like this, right? So 0 is triangle, 1 is circle, 2 is triangle, right? So there are many symbols that you can use if you change the PCH itself, right? Okay, right. So let's move to another graph, right? So let me copy this one for, let's see another graph. We call it as a line chart, right? So basically line chart is designed for quantitative variable as well, right? we can see, you can compare two quantitative variables. You can compare two quantitative variables. The purpose is to see the relationship between two numerical variables, right? So how to use it? The function is same as scatter diagram, but we need to add some function at the back of the plot. Say we're going to add type equal to L, right, for line, right? If you can go to plot document, right? In here you can see type is what type of plot should be drawn. P is for point, by default is a point. L is for line. B is for both. C is for line part alone. O is overplot. H is for histogram, and so on lah, right? So let me show you how to plot line by using empty cars, but actually this data is not really good, because to plot a line chart is only suitable for um, scatter diagram, right? So you can see it connect the point, right? Basically the line chart is the type of when we add type equal to L, basically it going to connect the point of the data. But for sure, obviously you can see the data is not suitable for the line chart, right? So if what you want to see the most suitable data, let me try data pressure, right? So in data pressure, let's see the dimension of pressure. Right, we have 19 observation and 2 variables. What are the variables? Pressure, we have temperature and pressure, right? So let's assume that I want to plot uh, temperature based on pressure. So pressure going to be on y-axis and temperature going to be on x-axis. So plot pressure, x-axis is temperature, pressure, y-axis should be pressure, and adding type equal to L, right? Now the graph is nice, be done, right? So if you want to combine the line chart together with the data point, we just change type to B, right? Plot pressure, temperature, pressure, pressure, type equal to B. So we can see the chart now are combined with the line and data point, right? And of course you can add title main equal to right. Are you okay? So good. All right. If you're okay, then we shall continue to the next graph, which is bar chart, right? So basically, bar chart is for qualitative variable, for qualitative only. which is a categorical variable, right? So the purpose for bar chart is actually to see the frequency distribution of the data, right? So to construct a bar chart, basically we use a bar plot function, right? So look at empty car data, um, empty cars, right? So we know that we already done it before. We have three categorical data, actually four categorical data, which is CYL, and then we have AM, also gear and carburetor, right? So now let's try to construct for the sake of knowledge, basically we try to construct a bar chart for CYL, number of cylinder. We have 4, 6 and 8 number of cylinder, and 11 is a frequency of 4 number of cylinder, and so on, right? But let's try. I just want to show you the mistake that I'm going to do, that you should not going to do that, right? Just look at this one, bar plot, empty cars, CYL, right? Just because a bar chart is actually, we're going to draw uh, for a single variable. For this variable should be qualitative variable, and this variable are in x-axis, right? If you can look at the help file for bar plot, right, it require the first input is your height, right? So if I put like this, it will not appear a very good or nice bar plot. It will appear all the value of the bar plot of the CYL. This is not what we want. We want it to be appear only 3 bar. The first bar is 4. 4 should be contain only 11 frequency, 6, 7 frequency, and 8 it should be 14. The reason why this happen is because if you look at the structure of empty cars, right, CYL is a numerical, is treated as numerical data, right, numerical variable. But in bar plot, it require this data should be qualitative, right? So to cater this problem is we need to make it this data as uh, qualitative variable. So we use as factor empty cars CYL, right? Now it become, wait, just want to make it, I think it's not going to work. We just need to add another one table, empty card, yeah, going to work well, right? It worked well. Okay, I think that's all for a bar plot. I'm going to go into detail about a bar chart, histogram, line chart, and scatter diagram in detail when we touch the ggplot package, right? This is just a basic package, right? So when we touch a ggplot package, then I will explain detail how to adjust the color, how to make it graph prettier, and so on, right? Right, let's continue to another graph. This is histogram. Basically, histogram is designed for single quantitative variables. The purpose is to see the relationship of the variable. You're going to see the shape of the data distribution, basically, right? So the function that we're going to use is HIST function, right? So let's look at mile per gallon, empty cars dataset. So his empty cars mile per gallon, right? And hit enter, it will appear the histogram for the mile per gallon, right? So we can add break function at the end of the data. We call it data variables, right? So break, right? Breaks equal to, let's say, 18. So we'll break the data into 18 classes. So the break rule is in this function you use search rule, right? Still remember the search rule. You break the continuous data into the categorical data into each the class is equal with, right? So another one, we can use plot function as well, right? Empty cars, right? MPG, and we add type equal to H, right? It will also appear the histogram, but this is not a really nice histogram, right? If you can break this one, breaks to 2, cannot, well, you cannot accept break function, right? So next, I'm going to show you box plot. Box plot is similar to histogram, right? Very similar to histogram. The purpose is to see the distribution of the data set, right? So it's designed for single variable as well. But we can do a comparison for qualitative variable. If you have more than two groups, we want to see the shape of distribution for, let's say, for example, let's say you have an you have a CGPA. I have a CGPA for a group of students, 30 students, right? And these 30 students have male and female. So I want to see the shape of distribution for male, of the CGPA for male, and shape of distribution for CGPA for female. So we can do a comparison by group as well by using a box plot, right? Box plot is using box plot function, right? We are using box plot function, right, to construct a box plot. Let's say box plot empty cars, right, MPG, right? It will appear the box plot for the whole data set, right? So let's say I want to break down, I want to see what is the shape of distribution for number of cylinder. Let's say mile per gallon for if they have 4 number of cylinder, 6 number of cylinder, and 8 number of cylinder, right? So we can add another one. Let's see this one, right? For quantitative variable and one qualitative variable, we can see the shape of distribution based on categorical variable, right? Box plot empty cars MPG and empty cars CYL. So you need to remember that in box plot, the orientation of X and Y are different compared to bar plot and X scatter diagram or line chart, right? So in box plot, you can see the data, right? The first data should be X axis, right? X axis, right? Which is in this one X axis lah. But since we want to compare two groups, right? So this is number of group and this is the numerical data. Numerical data tilde a group, right? Then you can get the box plot for each group, right? Okay. I think that's all for the introduction of plotting or graphing using a base package, right? Until next time, see you, bye.